Good morning and welcome to today's device webinar, where we will be digging more into the Windows 11 ecosystem. And today I'm very excited that this will be a co-joint event together with our strategic partner, not only Microsoft, but also HP, which we are very delighted to have. We'll be digging deep about productivity features as well as important security features, both on the Windows 11 side, which we've talked about in previous webinars, but we will also tie this in how this corresponds on the hardware side. My name is Alexander Pontikis. I'm the GTM lead for TD SYNNEX for Microsoft. And today I once again have Thomas Kjer Petersen, but we will today start with Louise Wistrand from HP, who will do a rundown on the hardware side. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Alexander, and I will start to share my screen. Perfect. So as Alexander said, I will present some productivity features that are new on our G9's Elite books. And yeah, I hope this will give you some insights and ideas of how we think when we have developed these PCs and how they will make it easier for our customers and also you if you are on an HP Elite book today. So as said, productivity, short points about the security and the built-in security that we have in our devices today. And also a few bullet points about sustainability, because we know this is, of course, really important topic today for both our customers, but also for ourselves, and also as society. So productivity, we are all, we've been in, plus 2 years with the pandemic, and we've been working from home mainly. And now, since 6 months back plus, we are starting to be in a more hybrid work, where we both are working from home, but we are also working from the office, but we also started to travel while we need to be able to be productive, wherever we are, basically. So this is something that we have considered when we develop the products, and I will show you how, and some points on how we thought about this in order to make you more productive as well as our customers. What we see is that we have different needs depending on where we're working. So for example, if I work from home, I might focus on like tasks that really needs my focus. I might need a bigger screen, because for myself, when I work at home, I focus on pricing tasks, for example, and I need a big screen to see all my content, and in order to be productive, and instead of working on my 13-inch notebook screen only. But on the other hand, when I'm on the go, I really don't want to carry around too much a big product. I want it light, and I want it to last for long with long battery lifetime, for example. And then at the office, we need setups that makes it easy for us to be productive, no matter if we work at a desk or if we work in a collaboration area or in a conference room with a full conference setup. So productivity, can you hear me? You have also, as I said when I started to present my presentation, I asked you if you could see my presentation. These are the 2 hiccups that we've seen, that we all been part of or experienced during the pandemic. It's like the noise is not clear. You struggle with the audio settings. You struggle with the camera settings or sharings, etc. So these are struggles that actually takes our focus from what we are presenting, what we are being presented to, instead of focusing on do I hear, and figuring out what is actually being said. So you probably are familiar that we have a long time cooperation with Bang & Olufsen. And previously, this had been 100% focused on really good audio quality when it comes to meetings, meaning that we are looking at how our voices are being heard. So active noise cancellation, for example. It doesn't matter if the person that you are having the conversation with have an active noise cancellation in their system. If you have it on your HP notebook with the Bang & Olufsen, you will experience noise cancellation both directions. Also, the other person on the other side will experience noise cancellation from you. And this is something that we are keeping in our elite books. But what is important is that we are also increasing the level and making it even more advanced in order to level up the audio even more. Another feature that we are keeping on our elite books with Bang & Olufsen audio is the conference mode. So you can yourself decide whether the audio should be only from you as a user in front of the PC, or if the audio will pick up 360 degrees around the PC. And why is that important? It's super critical. For example, if I'm holding a presentation, I don't want to be fixed in front of the PC. I will be able to move around a little bit without you starting to hear my sound is going up and down. But also if I'm sitting at home and I know that my family is home as well, I don't want their noise to be heard for you. So then I will choose to just have the audio from myself being picked up by the PC. But it can also be a situation where I'm at the office and me and my colleague, we need to have an ad hoc meeting with someone that is not in the building. So we will meet with someone on Teams and there's no available conference room. So we will just drop down in a room that is not suited up with a conference room solution, but we can just change the audio settings and my PC will pick up the audio from 360. So me and my colleague can actually use my PC as a conference module, small conference module. So these are smart features that we have had for some years. But what we do now is also that we are adding some features, some functionalities for the audio in order to make it even easier and more simple for you to have hybrid meetings. And this is what we call HP dynamic voice leveling. It doesn't matter actually what the name is, but the important part is that this means that the audio will follow the user. And I will show you some other features shortly. And this HP dynamic voice leveling functionality combined with the next feature will make it super simple and intuitive to have hybrid meetings. And the person that is presenting will be less, to talk down in the seat, but can be more moving and natural when they keep presentations. As well as if we have different people, several people around the PC, the audio will follow the one that is actually speaking. So this in combination will make it really intuitive to have meetings. And when it comes to this dynamic voice leveling, it's basically what it does is that, it follows the user. So it doesn't matter if I stay here or if I stay here. I'm not on a PC right now with this dynamic voice leveling, but I think you get the idea of it. But what it actually does when it follows is that it doesn't matter if I'm 3 meters in a range from the PC, the sound for you on the other side will the level of the sound will be in the same volume. So just because I'm moving back 1 meter, you will not have the impression that the the volume is going down. So you will not have to adjust with the volume settings. And the next feature that I think we all can agree that it's super critical for us when we're having hybrid meetings is that we have good cameras. And it's not only good cameras that makes a big difference, but it also very stronger sensors that are adapting to what light we do have at the moment. For example, I'm in a room where I see now that there's coming in some light, so I guess that I might be a bit overexposed time to time. So usually I have to pull down some curtains to make it looks good. But with these new 5 megapixel cameras with really strong sensors, we will not have to do these changes. So really high resolution and strong sensors. This is, we can show this one. Just basically adapting to what settings or what situation you are in. I've actually tried our EliteBook 830 G9 in our living room, where we have really, it's not office light, basically, quite dark, and it really adapts. So even in dark light, it adapts and you get a good picture. But also if you're in an overexposure environment, the camera sensors will adapt. And this, of course, makes it easier for us because we don't have to, control our own little studio with different lights, and that will put our face in a good light. But we will have it automatically, and it's built in all our EliteBook G9s. Another thing that is actually the functionality that I wanted to connect with the audio that is following the user is our HP AutoFrame. What AutoFrame does is basically giving us the same functionality of a camera as we expect from the cameras in conferencing rooms. The camera that is actually tracking the user. So this means if I would have one of these pieces with these cameras, I could actually move around now and the camera would focus on me, even if I'm moving around. And also if I would have a colleague with me here and I would give my colleague the word when the colleague starts to speak, and the camera will focus on this person. And also, of course, the sound, as I mentioned earlier. Another functionality that we also seen that can cause some issues is how much is actually visible of myself. If we're in a large meeting, we can't see. If we see the upper body plus the head, we will not be able to see the mimic of ourselves, how the reactions of our faces. But if we instead can choose to just have the face for large meetings, then we will have a much better presence. But if we are in a small meeting and you probably don't want you have to have your whole screen filled with one face only, so then we can easily choose to have a greater part of ourselves to be visible. So I'm sorry, apologizing for this to be in Swedish, but 2022, big thing in order to make us more productive, we have changed the screen sizes. I'm just gonna change one thing. So just about sensors on cameras, as I don't have that, I had to pull down my curtain as the sun suddenly showed its face. But about how to be productive when it comes to screens is that previously we worked on a widescreen format, 16:9 classically. What we do now is that from 800 plus, so EliteBook 800, EliteBook 1000, we are changing to 16:10. And on all our Dragonfly machines, we are going to 3:2. So this is basically, we're moving to a higher screen size. And what this actually does is that we see more of our inbox, but also more of the of web pages. And another thing that it also does in order to make us productive is that since the screen is higher, we also get a deeper bottom plate. So what this makes is that we can also enlarge the caps, the keycaps. So the keycaps are basically 12% larger, and the touchpad is 45% larger. So this makes it much more ergonomic and easier for us to be productive with the products. So just some short part about security. We all notice what kind of environment we are living in, and not least since the Russian and Ukraine situation. But we have heard, we have experienced several companies that have been exposed for ransomware attacks, etc. What I want you to remember from the security part with me is that we have a chip in all our PCs. It's called HP Security Endpoint Security Controller, and it's an electric and physically isolated chip. So when you start an HP PC, this is the chip that is electrified from the start. So this is electrified prior. The CPU actually is electrified, and when it's electrified, it checks the BIOS. So it's actually the function for our users is that when they have an HP notebook, a HP business notebook, they actually have a BIOS that is self-healing. So when we do the check between the chip is electric, the chip is powered on. The chip is checking the BIOS, the active BIOS, and a golden copy. And if it's not 100% match, the golden copy BIOS will restart, and the active BIOS will be deleted. So this makes it a very, very early and very safe BIOS level security feature that users don't have to think about. IT department don't have to think about, and it's not even able to be turned off. So if you get a person into the building that wants to do some fun things, that will not be possible. Other on this, we have a wide spectrum of security features in our products, and several of them are built in, and they can also be, some are both software and hardware connected, and the ones that are software connected, it's up to the user or the IT department to decide whether to be used or not. But what I just wanted to highlight is the Shoreview, which is so the Shoreview is basically also connected to the endpoint security controller, and what it does is that it checks the security settings that IT have decided that they are actually being followed. So, for example, if the firewall is turned off, Shoreview will notify this, turn it on, and also notify IT department. Yeah, I think. Moving on. Other security features that are really close to the user and that actually enhances the user experience is, of course, our Shoreview Reflect. So this is by a button, the user suddenly have a Shoreview screen, so it's not viewable for prying eyes, basically, on the train or in the aircraft. We are all familiar that we have webcams on our notebooks, and of course our users want to feel safe that they are turned off when you think it's turned off. So we either have physical protection that you just pull aside so you see that the camera is turned off, or we have a button that you press, so it's turned off. And even when you press with a button, you actually see that it's a physical cover that is covering the camera. Other security features, we always talk a lot about to have multi-factor authentication, because this increases the security level. But we don't want the login session to be complicated for the user. So this is why we want to make it easy by having hardware connected, like fingerprint or IR cameras, in order to make it easy, but also increase the security. So another feature that is also increasing the security level, but at the same time makes it easier for the user, is our new function, HP Auto Lock and Awake. This is something that we offer on our EliteBook 1000 series and up, so EliteBook 1000s and Dragonflies. And what it does is that it has sensors in the screen. So when I move away from the PC, the PC will feel that there's no one sitting in front of me, and it will automatically dim down the display and then lock itself. So for myself, and some of you have probably experienced that you forget to press Windows L, and when you head off for the coffee machine, and when you come back, you realize that, oh, my PC is unlocked. And it could be the case that some colleague took the chance and invited the whole office to an after work session or something at your place. But with Auto Lock and Awake, this will not be possible anymore. And how it makes it even easier for the user is, of course, when you come back. So, and if you then already have decided that you want to log in with face recognition, for example, or Windows Hello, then the PC will feel that you are sitting in front of it, and it will take you straight away to the login screen. And if you then have Windows Hello, then you actually will feel like it's an automated login situation. You don't even have to wake up the screen yourself. It will wake up itself. So crystal clear. I'm longing to have this function on my own PC. It will for sure, make me come back to a PC that is locked instead of realizing that I forgot Windows out. Shortly, sustainability before I hand over. But we design our products in alumina. It's the most recycled material on the planet. It's also durable, and from a performance perspective, aluminum is also a great metal when it comes to leading off heat. So we can actually build our really thin products, but still have great performance in them. We neither have to color them with paint, so there's no paint to fall off. So the product actually looks great for a longer period. This in combination that we have a coating on our keyboards that makes that all symbols and letters will stay fixed on the keyboards for a very long time, makes the user feel that they have a product that is really nice for a long time. You will not see an HP EliteBook that is 4 years old that are missing an A or any symbol. They will be there. And we've had this Dura coating for many years now. Last but not least, we want our PCs to be used for a long time. That is also why we are building them in order to be upgradable or to be repairable in case that is needed. We also have as a standard a long life battery on our products. That means that they shall last 1,000 cycles. A normal professional user need requires less than 700 cycles on the battery for 3 years. So it's top up. And this also is the reason why we have as a standard the same support time on our batteries as on the PC itself. If you have 3 year and next 3 year on site, you will have 3 year on site on the batteries as well. The last thing I just want to mention is this the PVC symbol here. So from all our PCs that are produced for generation 9, meaning desktops, notebooks, workstations, mobile workstations, we have from a Nordic perspective decided to have all our focus products delivered with PVC-free cables. So all PVC-free, non-halogen cables. Thanks. That's what I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you, Louise. So just before we hand it over to Thomas, we just have a quick question in the chat. So are all the camera and audio features that we've discussed in previous in your presentation, are they available in let me see, are they available in all G9 products?
Yes. So yes, for all from 800. So EliteBook 800, EliteBook 1000, Dragonfly. I see that I have the same issue again. Let me just.
No worries. So in the great answer. Perfect. And we're going to hand it over to Thomas whenever you're ready.
Yes, thank you. Always interesting from my end to see what's actually going on our partners, and I love seeing, especially we haven't actually talked about sustainability before because we talk about the OS, but just so you know, Windows 11 with the latest update has actually become carbon aware, meaning that your updates will actually be downloaded when electricity is at the cheapest in your region. So it's using Azure AI actually to figure out when power supply is at the highest in the region that you're located, and we'll start to download your updates there. So it's a little thing that we're doing, but I thought when you ended on both your PVC and halogen-free cables, I thought, hey, let's just throw this one in there, because like the more we do, like even though you might see that as a little thing, but if we all do little things, we get quite far. So I love seeing it. So just wanted to comment on that one. And let's jump into a little bit about the security features and everything else. So love seeing the hardware part, as I said, but I just want to highlight a few things that we think is very key when going to a modern version of Windows with a modern Windows device as well, is of course being able to have this zero trust principle in place. That's how we've kind of built Windows, you know, verify everything and least privileged access, and of course assume breach. That's the kind of 3 principles that we've used to build Windows 11. But that's all good and well, but let's look at some numbers actually that I have for you guys on a survey that we did. So first thing I want to highlight is these numbers, and this is a phishing simulation that we did with a lot of companies globally, where we tried sending out phishing links to people that worked at a company, and we actually saw that 20% of people that received this email actually clicked the link in this phishing simulation. After that, 70% of them actually did go ahead and download the malware that we had. So of course it wasn't a real malware, it was all a simulation, but it's just to work with companies to actually figure out what can we do to ensure that they are staying safe. So 20%, that's way above what I would have expected in 2021, where this was where we did this survey. So just be aware, the more levels of security we can get from both OS to a silicon all the way to hardware, the better we are, to be quite honest, when we're looking at it. And just at the end, we also see almost 70% of the surveyed organizations that actually experience some kind of threat incidents, like phishing attacks. And we definitely see that is with a hybrid workplace, that is definitely something that is increasing, at least the attempts with phishing. I did touch briefly upon it with our zero trust principle that we've used to build Windows 11, which is, as I said, verify explicitly, least privileged access, and assume breach. So in layman's term, it's just about check everything, trust no one, and assume that somebody's already in your house, more or less. That's the principles that we've used to build on Windows to make sure that everything stays as safe as possible. Because we believe that when we operate with that one and an organization starts operating with this zero trust mentality, well, they are more resilient and consistent and responsive to new attacks that might actually come to their doorstep. Oh, and my mouse did. There we go. Move on. So, sorry. We saw a lot of new challenges. You mentioned the pandemic, Louise. We kind of already forgot that that was a thing, to some degree at least. But we saw a lot of challenges actually that it brought forward that we weren't necessarily that aware of, or I think we were, but it kind of accelerated it to some degree, because there's a new number of challenges that we got with people working from like their home network or on the go, as was mentioned. So connecting to guest Wi-Fi at the airport if they didn't have 4G built in, guest network at a coffee house, anything like that. So we wanted to ensure that Windows was a secure platform to actually use your Office apps, your Microsoft Teams, or any line of business apps, and so much more, just to get stuff done. So that's kind of why we did this massive change from 10 to 11, where we introduced like multiple features to ensure this, to adapt or to help employees to achieve what they need in a smart way without compromising security. And again, for IT admins, which are important that we keep on board, we still have them the tools that they need to both deploy devices, but also support employees in a smart way. So they can continue using the technologies that they had been using on Windows 10 and previously, because we all know how important security and protection are today. So that's why kind of like the basis of it. If nothing else, Microsoft has a lot of data in it. So I want to share a little bit more data with you guys that are on the call today. And there's quite a lot here, but the key one, and if you've been on this before, you've probably heard some of those numbers that I've highlighted before, but I want to highlight that 44% of the enterprise companies that we've talked in our security signals boost research actually say that security is their #1 priority, and that's over performance, reliability, and compatibility. So it's definitely a big thing. And we also see that 80 and 86%, they agree that to stay safe against threats both of today, but also of tomorrow, it's not just modern software they need a combination of modern hardware and software to stay safe. And just to summarize, with modern hardware, we actually see when a company goes out and replaces like aging PCs with modern PCs, we see a reduction in both firmware attacks, but also identity theft. And those of you who have been here before, you know that 99.6% of the apps that you had working on Windows 10 also works on Windows 11. So it's definitely some of the numbers that I just wanted to share here, and one of the things that we do. So let's talk about the security features of Windows 11, and we are kind of trying to focus mostly on the hardware side of it this time around, the features that we have added both on silicon but hardware as well. And I'll switch and get just a little bit of water. The main priority with Windows 11 when it comes to security is, of course, make sure that every door is locked in your house. If you compare it to just the house, our security efforts are trying to make sure that every window is locked, your alarm is turned on, and once you leave it. Instead of making sure, for this example, the cloud would be the back door, you would leave that one open when you actually leave your house. So it's about making sure that all layers of where you are actually operating stay safe. So anything from hardware to operating system, to the apps that you use in every day, and make sure that your identity and data is also secured. And of course, we know a lot of people are working in some kind of cloud, and make sure that that's also secured. So there's no, as I said, open backdoor to ensure this one. Not to ensure it, but being open. When we look at the hardware features that we have on security, of course, we have our hardware root of trust, and then we have our silicon assisted security as well. When we did this survey, as I referenced earlier, where we had 86% of it was security decision makers, they stated that they believe that outdated hardware, they leave their organizations more open to attacks, and that more modern hardware would actually help protect them against future threats. So we've worked with HP, we've worked with Intel, AMD across the world to provide additional hardware security capabilities to meet this evolving threat landscape that we're seeing, and enable more hybrid work, but also hybrid learning. So one of the things is, of course, with Windows 11, we've introduced this enhanced security hardware offering with Pluton and secured core PCs. We've added protection and maintaining system integrity as the firmware loads to actually help prevent unauthorized firmware or software starting before Windows. We've required this TPM 2.0 chip, and that's kind of where the cutoff is with all the devices being able to upgrade to Windows 11, not having that TPM 2.0 chip. But we've added that one to strengthen the security for features like Windows Hello or BitLocker as well. And of course, we are creating a secure region of memory that's actually isolated from the host OS to ensure that we have code integrity, but also information protection being used with virtualization-based security as well. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of some of the things that we've done when it comes to our hardware root of trust. So sorry, my throat is definitely feeling that winter is coming, to quote a famous series. A hardware root of trust, it helps the system integrity as the hardware turns on, because it loads firmware and then launches the OS. In Windows 11, this hardware root of trust provides an increased security by, well, securely monitoring the firmware and operating system code that boots the system, such as if malware has infected the boot code, it can't actually hide its presence. It will be discovered. It provides a highly secure area isolated from the rest of the operating system, where and applications, of course, where sensitive like cryptographic keys, data, and code can live. So anything like your the Windows authorization stack, your single sign-on token for Windows, your Windows Hello biometric stack, and even your BitLocker volume encryption keys, they're all separated from the OS, so it's stored in a safe place. And of course, by building this TPM 2.0 chip securely into the, well, this is AMD only as of now. With the Pluton chip, we've designed this secure chip that eliminates, I wouldn't say common, but a weakness when the root of trust is actually located in another chip on the motherboard that's separate from the CPU. So we've added that Pluton where it's built in. So I'll touch a bit more upon Pluton a bit later as well. So yes, our Pluton chip, and without getting into too much detail, but the thing here is it's born on Xbox, it grew up on Azure, and now it's in Windows. It has a 13-year history of keeping people safe. When it was first launched on Xbox, it was actually supposed to ensure non-use of pirated games, etc. So trust us, we've had our attempts at it. It moved on to Azure, our cloud solution, where it proven to be very strong as well, and now on Windows. So a long story of keeping data and information safe. Sorry. So that's our Pluton chip, at least. In addition to our Pluton chip, of course, we have our silicon-assisted security as well, which is coming only in the latest versions of the CPUs. That hardens the operating system against threats, such as protecting the boot process, safeguarding the integrity of your memory, but also isolating security, compute logics, and more. So it's our virtualization-based security, which is our core isolation, that uses the CPU's hardware to secure certain regions of the memory from the normal operating system to keep vital OS functions such as the kernel and security assets, like your user credentials, safe. And of course, we have our firmware security as well that prevents attackers from installing bootkits, rootkits as well, because it's all down to the CPU is kind of helping us support that one as well. And of course, our hyper protected integrity, where this memory integration kind of helps prevent memory-based attacks that target the kernel modules, such as certain drivers, where code can actually not be modified, and modified memory can not even be executed on Windows 11 either. So with this one, you kind of get into our secure core PCs, which is enabled primarily on the higher end of the scale with PCs, with both from AMD with their Pluton, but also Intel processors as well. This is great for customers that work in data sensitive industries like financial services, government, healthcare, anything like that. And working with HP and all other partners to produce this category of PCs called secure core PCs as well, because it kind of strengthens your protection against our advanced threats such as kernel attacks from ransomware. Secure core PCs, they simply prevent malware attacks and minimize firmware vulnerabilities by launching into a clean and trusted state at startup. And with a hardware enforced root of trust, it kind of stops infections in its track. And how it actually does this is that the secure core PCs, they are designed to ensure that all the code of the operating system is both trustworthy and the execution, what's the word? All the things that it needs to do are actually signed by known
execution.
And yeah, exactly. Thank you. My tongue didn't want to go that way. Are signed by known and approved authorities only. So HP, us, Intel, or anything in between. So to kind of like ensure the two most secure PCs that we have, just to cut it in a bit black and white here, both of them are the highest levels of security that we get, but Pluton has the TPM built in the same, it's in the same die as the CPU. And with our secure core PCs, it's still a separate TPM on the motherboard. Still very secure, but simply just in two different locations. course, from the OS, we have a lot of things, and I don't want to get too much into this one. I think you've joined us to hear about this before, so I'll jump into some of the new features as well that we have that are coming in the latest update in 22H2. So we've updated our Windows Defender Smart Screen to ensure that even more data is being both secured, but also securing your operating system. What we do with Defenders, actually, it's not only Windows, it's everything Microsoft. So if you look at our Defender, what's it built on? It's built on every surface that or contact surface that we have within Microsoft that comes in contact with some kind of threats. That could be Outlook.com, it could be Xbox, it could be Azure, it could be Windows, it could be Office, anything in between. So all these threat signals kind of come together to give your one user the protection that they need to stay safe. And when we're talking about security, it's kind of, we have our smart app control because, you know, sometimes it's about making sure that your employers or your company's employees can use the apps that they want, not necessarily only business apps on the devices. So with Smart App Control, you can actually start giving access to certain apps that your users actually wants to use without going away from that tight security that a company might have set up. So this is kind of like, it's kind of like a smart Defender Smart Screen, but for apps, where IT can actually approve this one as well. There's a little caveat to this one. If you're running an existing Windows 11, you would have to do a reset of your device and a clean install to enable this feature. But on any modern devices, this will definitely be turned on from the start. Kind of like you talked about with your auto lock from HP, we're also trying to push this out to even more devices because we definitely see this as being a great feature. I have my phone set up as a dynamic lock, so when this gets too far away from my PC, it locks. But to be quite honest, it doesn't always work. I don't know if it's down to this one or it's down to my PC. But we've all walked away from our PC without pressing Windows L, I believe. And you always like get probably a few meters away and you're like, oh, by the way, should probably lock my screen. This is something that definitely can do the same where it senses when you're getting close and locks your PC when you get further away using Windows Hello, as Louise also showed in her video. Another thing, it's just, you know, this is limited only to Qualcomm and one Intel processor as of now. But what we are adding to Windows is that we are adding even more this NPU, so neural processing unit, into the system, where you can get a better dynamic background blur, you can get even better noise cancelling. And if you joined us at Ignite, you would see a live demo of Panos trying to talk while someone is playing the guitar and actually cut away the guitar. So it definitely works. And getting that where your eyes automatically focuses on your camera, even though you might be looking at your screen where your people that you're in a meeting with are looking at. So just making sure that you are even more present. And I loved actually when you talked about, Louise, about your autofocus, because I've always done like readiness and everything like that. But funny thing is, I went from using my body quite heavily when I did a on-stage presentation or anything like that, and all of a sudden I became a T-Rex. Your hands ended up being right in front of you because not everything was shown on screen. So your movement definitely started changing quite a bit. So this also enables that being able to autofocusing. I think that's a great tool to see coming from HP as well, which definitely makes a big difference in the presentation that you might be doing. So with that, I am nearing the end, and I think we are just a little short of time, but that's great. I want to highlight two things before we go. Anyone on the call want to know more about Windows? Get onto our expert zone. It's a great platform for anything from Windows. It's from Azure, it's Windows Server, it's anything in between. CSP solutions with Office, we have that one available as well. It's made for sellers. It's not super technical. It's for people that sell stuff. That's what we are here for with that one. And I'll just want to highlight this one, our Windows 11 Pro accreditation. If you don't have something to scan a QR code with, it's simply expertzone.microsoft.com, where you can sign up. And with that, I just want to say thank you to everyone that joined. And then, do we have any questions, Alex?
Thank you so much, Thomas. There are no questions besides a hardware-related one. So I have actually, out of my own curiosity, a question for Louise. Do you guys, sorry for my ignorance, have a similar, let's say, training portal for partners who can dive deep into getting training around your wonderful HP laptops and beyond?
Let me come back on that one. I know that we've just moved our internal product training site, and last week we did not have the partner part up there. So, but let me come back to you, Alex, on that one.
Absolutely. So and on the final note, we've talked about both the powerful features in Windows 11 around security and chips and so on and so forth, and we also saw the beautiful productivity and the security built in the HP products. Of course, for you as a partner, you want to deliver a full workplace, and that also means that services needs to be provided as well, meaning deployment, making sure that a set of certain users get a specific sort of apps, and another user group get another sort of apps, depending what they're doing. Let's say if one group is more on the knowledge worker side, working with spreadsheets and documents and presentations and so on, and perhaps you have a marketing group working with creative products, let's say the Adobe Suite or so on. All those kind of deployment features are also provided through SYNNEX services, which have their base in our warehouse. So that is also just what I wanted to note as well. So again, we're the one-stop shop for all your workplace, for the entire workplace delivery. This, of course, will be recorded, this webinar, and will be sent out to all registered attendees. So even if you couldn't attend, you will get a recording. And on a final note, thank you so much, Louise. Thank you so much, Thomas, for doing this with us today. And we wish you a great rest of the week, which is soon. We'll be ending a great weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.